Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love Island UK, Season 11, Episode 14.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around how is it fair to bring in two ex-lovers onto a show where the premise is to build new connections. I'm still trying to fathom that in my head. I feel like the producers owe us an explanation. Blair, you ready to walk us through this episode?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
We start with Grace and Joey. Grace is saying that the Hideaway thing is probably not going to go over very well. So she recommends that he go ahead and talk to Samantha about it.
Okay.
Joey wants to go forward with Grace, but he does want to make sure Samantha's good. And Ronnie agrees that this is what he should be doing. Ronnie's just hanging out.
Okay. Pretty much.
Joey pulls Samantha. He tells her that he will be staying in the Hideaway with Grace. He's like, she doesn't want to sleep in the single beds. And me and you aren't connecting. I'm not trying to sleep on the day bed. So this is what we're going to do. She says, that's fine. She saw them kissing. She's like, if you had respect for me, you wouldn't have been doing all that kissing out in public. It's completely out of order.
Your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that. Maybe I'm just cold-hearted, but I just feel like Samantha, like, y'all never had a connection. Y'all never kissed. Y'all never touched. Y'all never held hands. Like, it was so obvious that y'all didn't have a connection. So at some point, there was going to be somebody who probably was going to turn his head very easily. Now, it's not fair that is somebody that he has a history with, because she's right in the sense that she can't compete with someone that he really had a strong connection with. But honestly, whether it was a new girl or ex, I really don't think Samantha had a chance with Joey. So should he have been doing the PDA and kissing in front of her? Probably not. But I'm just kind of like, what did you expect? Like, y'all were not clicking. Y'all weren't connecting.
Yeah. I find it very funny that Joey's over there basically saying, yeah, so Grace don't want to sleep in a single bed, so we go sleep in the Hideaway. What do that got to do with Samantha? And the fact that, and I don't even think Grace even said it on her own that she don't want to sleep in a single bed. He was like, you don't want to sleep in single beds. Dude, you don't want to sleep in single beds. We go sleep together in the Hideaway. To Blair's point about how she can't compete. No, she can't compete. But I understand why everybody is compassionate towards Samantha. And it's kind of hard for me to feel compassionate because I feel like the foundation of Samantha's like for Joey is because he's Joey's essence. Yeah. I feel like there wasn't a real connection outside of, hey, I'm about to win the bag. I'm about to change my life. I'm about to be with this guy because of his celebrity. Yeah, right? And
I think Joey could sense that. Yeah. And it just wasn't going to go anywhere.
No, yeah, I do feel that way. As well as I do agree that, hey, however you choose to play this game on Love Island, you can't be mad about how you play the game when you don't get the results you want. Meaning, if you want to be closed off to everybody else, then you run that risk of when that one person chooses to look somewhere else, you will be without somebody. That's the very premise of this game. So the whole premise is that you build enough connections. So during that first week where y'all didn't connect, you did not go out and try to fish for somebody else. That second week when y'all didn't connect, you did not go out to fish for somebody else. And now when that third week comes and now Grace come in, she took your man. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I'm trying to do a balancing act here.
Yeah, well, Samantha and Nicole get to chat. Yeah. She tells Nicole that they're going to be staying in the Hideaway. She saw them kiss. But he didn't really comment on the kiss when she brought it up. Nicole tries to console her, and Samantha is just saying, like, it just feels like disrespect, like, back to back. Like, it's just one thing after another. She feels at this point that he wasted her time for 2 weeks. And I feel like I want to go back to what you said, Chris. Like, you didn't spread yourself out enough to get to know people. Yeah. I mean, you can't really go all in with somebody unless the connection is really that strong. And it really was not that strong. No. And you knew that. So Ronnie and Harriet chat. She asked how the chat was with Tiffany. He said it was sweet, nothing to report really. So Harriet, knowing Ronnie, pulls Tiffany for a chat.
You don't have to do that.
And she asked, so how was the chat? And Tiffany just comes right out and says he said that if there was a recoupling, he would choose me. And Harriet is just like, what is wrong with him? Like, he doesn't know you. No offense, Tiffany, but he does not know you. Why would he tell you that? She thinks that he is going to do this with every girl, and Tiffany agrees. Harriet just wishes he would have told her that. Well, Ronnie ends up coming over, and Harriet tells him he's in trouble. She asks him, so who are you coupling up with? And eventually, because he kind of beats around the bush a little bit, eventually he says, probably Tiffany. And she's like, why wouldn't you say that to me when we were in the kitchen and I asked you how the conversation went?
Yeah.
Well, Harriet, it storms off and she asked Ronnie to come to her. Ronnie didn't know that he was supposed to report that to Harriet. He says, it's just a conversation I had with Tiffany. And Harriet was just like, look, you've known the girl for 2 days. Like, you're playing up the situation. You're doing too much. Tiffany is telling Jess why Harriet is flipping out. And the guys are joking that pretty much Ronnie has to get around to every girl and then he can kind of see who he can prioritize. Like,
Listen here. I see Sean in the background trying to mimic Ronnie. And I'm like, well, Sean, you kind of doing your worst impression of mimicking Ronnie because every girl you want, Ronnie have first. So I don't know what you mimicking back there for. You get what I'm saying? Maybe you should mimic him and you actually have a real connection or you would save yourself on the show. Luckily, the guys had the power, you know. I would say this. Ronnie is funny. Ronnie is, I'm sorry. I'm leaning into it. I'm a toxic guy. Ronnie's my favorite character on the show.
Yeah.
He's my favorite character on the show. The fact that when Harriet walked away, she calls him to say, come here. He said, I ain't no dog, man. You ain't gonna summon me. You get what I'm saying?
Nothing is serious.
No, nothing is
nothing is serious.
And at the end of the day, Ronnie will always be safe.
Yeah.
Until these women come together and they say, you know what, Ronnie ain't gonna do this to us. We all gonna say no to him, and they are not. Somebody's plan's gonna crack
because they want to feel like the special one.
Exactly.
That, like he's gonna change for me, and I think that's how Tiffany was feeling like. But we'll get into the conversation she has with Ronnie. Yeah. But eventually she talks to him, and she's acting like she's like above the others, and I'm just like, girl,
everybody,
if only you knew.
Everybody felt this way at least one point with Ronnie, you know.
So as they're going to bed, Uma tells Samantha she's the prize and she needs to remember it. Grace and Joey head off to the Hideaway, and he tells her they need to make the most of the night and not worry about what other people think. They missed each other and they immediately start making out.
And that's what I'm talking about with the producers. Why would you bring somebody in, or let me put it like this. Is it fair to bring somebody in who had prior relations to a relationship type of show to basically, like, she has leverage with Joey because she knows him. You get what I'm saying? She knows about his family. She knows about what he likes and don't like. So there's really nothing much to learn besides Samantha. She started, even though Samantha, I do feel like your attention was off initially, but it's like you can never have the connection that Joey and Grace has, because they had more time outside of the time that was allotted within the game. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, there's something foul about like their connection with Grace and Joey that Samantha, as we all know, paid the price for. It just left a sour taste in my mouth, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, it's not fair. And even if Joey had a good connection with somebody in the house, I still don't know if they would have been able to stand up to Grace because of the history. So I think production was kind of like messed up for that. I know you guys are saying you think Joey and Grace like might have concocted this situation, but it's up to production and the hiring people to get the people on the show. So I'm just like, if they did this, like thinking this would be a good thing, like it's interesting to watch, but it's really unfair to Samantha. Yeah. So
I think it's already interesting enough to bring Joey Essex on the show itself because he's a celebrity on that side of the world. You get what I'm saying? But to bring in Joey Essex and as someone who is his ex, it's like, what? Okay, what are we doing here? Joey bringing his own luggage now? You get what I'm saying? Right. He's bringing his own sand to the beach. You know what I mean? It's just not fair in my eyes. But let's continue.
So the next morning, Grace and Joey wake up kissing. They come back to the main house to get ready. They're all like, "Hey, you guys,
how y'all doing?"
Will brings Uma a smoothie as she's getting ready.
What are your thoughts on Uma?
Oh, man, I feel like we went deep into Uma like the last episode or so, and basically just how she doesn't close the deal.
I'm about to go deeper.
Oh, okay. I feel like she's very inexperienced, and I think that I agree with the fact that it seems like she just likes to be liked. You know, like where's the effort on your end to actually want to get to know the guy and actually do the legwork to possibly having a relationship? It's like he is put in a position to prove himself to her, to get the kiss, to get her time, to get her attention. And you can tell she likes him, but it's just like, if you like him, like, reciprocate. Like, that's not going to make you look stupid if you reciprocate affection or energy to somebody. And let me put it like this. I think she is giving him good energy, but I feel that she's holding herself back from, like, fully being how she wants to be with or around him. Like, it just feels very, like, this teenager back and forth playing coy type of thing, and I just feel like that's not interesting to me.
Yeah. I feel like Uma is playing the game, and they trying to get to, what is the name of that island? Casa
Amor.
Yeah. I think she's trying to pull her best Ronnie impression. Right. But unfortunately, in a sexist world, I don't think it will work good in Uma's case compared to Ronnie, because for one, on this version of Love Island compared to Love Island USA, Love Island UK, the men are running the villa.
They are.
The men are running the villa from top to bottom. The women are 100% attached to the guys on this villa. Compared to Love Island USA, the women are running the villa. So I feel like with Will, if he is the type of guy that I think he is, I don't know how long he's going to go with basically being put in a position to where he has to prove himself. Right? But I think it will work good in her favor only because of this. As long as there's a boy on the island, someone will come and swoop in and save her. And Omar, I'm talking to you, brother. Right? Omar, we haven't seen you said a word this episode. You talking about how you're going to build connections with Uma this whole time. You haven't done any of that, right?
No.
And you lucky you had the power this week. Because at the end of the day, you just choosing what's ever left. And that's basically what you did. Like, okay, who's left? Okay, I guess I choose Jess. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, as long as there's boys on the island, there will always be someone that can placate to Uma, right? Yeah. But I think as the episodes go further and further and further along, I think Uma actually going to have to make a choice on who she likes and actually put action behind that, you know?
Well, Jess and Nicole make Samantha a boss babe breakfast.
Okay.
They hold hands. They try to encourage her and each other and talk about how great she is and how they're not going to let the men make them feel a way about themselves.
It's so interesting Jessica is doing this because, Jess, I could have swore that Ronnie didn't see you as a prize. He didn't see you as a boss. You gave him a deadline, and he was like, what deadline? You know what? I want an extension. Well, the deadline's up. He said, oopie. You know what I mean? So, like, this whole thing of Jess is not... What's the word? She's not giving good advice as a friend, in my opinion, right? Samantha, she already knows she's lost.
Yeah.
She already in the dumps about it, right? So this whole thing of like, you're the prize. I know Uma came in the night before saying you're the prize. Do not forget that. Well, it's kind of hard to keep telling yourself that you're the prize when y'all basically forfeited the power to the men in that villa, right? So everything, when you say things like, Ronnie, you have a choice to make, you giving him the power.
Exactly. Instead of taking the power and the control for yourself.
Exactly. So it's like, it's fake encouragement. You know what I mean? It's basically just like, here's some croissants, here's some syrup, here, have some of that. But the truth is, the men are running the villa this season of Love Island UK. Right.
Well, Joey, Kieran, Ronnie, and Ayo are talking. When Grace came in, all of the feelings came flooding in from when he was with her before. And it's hard for him to hide how he feels about her. Ronnie talks about his comment about coupling up with Tiffany, and Harriet pretty much put him in detention. He needs to learn from what he's saying and doing, and he thinks he needs to start thinking before he speaks.
That would help.
Yeah. Kieran wants to just go all the way with Nicole, and he thinks things get better with her every day.
I don't trust her.
Ayo has really good vibes with Mimi, and he feels he's getting to know the real her whenever they talk.
I'm going to come back to them.
I want to say, well, the girls are kind of eavesdropping as the guys are talking, and this kind of made me flip a little bit from how we talked before about Ayo and Mimi's situation.
Help me.
And I think maybe they just aren't getting the airtime they deserve.
Come on now.
Because if you're sitting here saying that you feel like you're getting deeper with her and you're getting to know her better, then that makes me wonder, well, what are the conversations like? And I'm just like left amiss, you know? You're showing me Kieran and Nicole sucking face all day, but why are we not seeing Ayo and Mimi?
Come on now.
So that is a question of mine.
Listen here.
That is a question of mine.
I don't want to point no fingers, and I don't want to say I told you so. I told you so, right? I said yesterday, why isn't Ayo and Mimi not getting airtime on this show? Yeah. Y'all making me pull this dashiki from under this table, right? And then for Ayo to basically be like, we basically on good terms, we get to know each other and things like that. And then just to fast forward to when he picked her at the end of the show, I'm like, okay, where is the airtime? Yeah. Are y'all trying to make us forget about them and basically them being quote unquote the couple of Love Island and trying to force us with this Joey and Grace thing? No. The same way as y'all show us Nicole and Kieran, the boring couple of the show, just don't even have a couple for real. She ain't even paired with nobody. I think she was paired with Sean For all I know.
Yeah, she was.
So, and then they not even talking. Omar, we don't care about Omar, right? Sean over here trying to find somebody. So y'all basically showing us every couple, Harriet and Ronnie, Joey and Grace and things of that nature. Samantha crying the whole time. But through all of that, even Will and Uma, through all that, we get no Ayo and Mimi at all.
Yeah, it's strange. Very strange.
No Ayo and Mimi at all.
And they're getting to know each other better? Where?
I only know it because he said it.
Exactly.
I may have to pull this dashiki out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Continue, please.
Well, Jess talks to Joey, and y'all, I'm tired of Jess being the police around the house. Like, the one who's trying to hold all the guys accountable, telling Ayo, like, you need to go talk to Mimi, and you need to have this conversation. Exactly. I would tell Jess to mind her business eventually. Exactly. Now, is Jess wrong necessarily? Maybe not, but she's too much in the mix.
Wrong messenger.
Talk to Sean.
Exactly.
Okay, don't talk to me. Anyway, Jess didn't like the insensitivity they had towards Samantha when Joey and Grace were kissing on the daybed. And she's like, did that have to be in her face? And Joey says it was accidental. And Jess was like, it was not accidental. It was not accidental. But Jess, mind your business.
Wrong messenger.
She says, look, Samantha had you for 2 weeks and you gave to Grace what she had wanted that whole time. He says he'll try to not be so PDA. Jess is essentially saying that it was too soon. She really did like you. And he's like, well, I couldn't tell. And she was like, well, it was a protection thing. Well, honestly, if you're not going to put yourself out there, then hey, you get what you get. You don't put your face. Yeah. Sorry.
I think Joey is he is a gaslighter. Joey knows what he feels towards Grace compared to what he feels towards Samantha. But I am putting the blame on production for even bringing Grace on the show. But also, I wish Joey would have said something like, Samantha only wanted to be with Joey Essex. Samantha did not want to be with Joey. She wanted to be with Joey Essex and everything that brings, you know. But this whole protection thing, like Blair said, wrong messenger of like everything you gave to Grace, you didn't give it to Samantha and you was with her for 2 weeks. Well, have you seen how the conversations we had for 2 weeks of how it was basically like stop and go, and basically how she was basically saying we are the king or queen of the villa and things of that nature. It just didn't feel natural. Right? But my thing is, it shouldn't feel natural because this is a complete stranger and it's Love Island, and that what comes with the game. Of course it would feel more natural with someone if you bring someone that I dated. You get what I'm saying? Which is not fair to Samantha.
Right. Well, Tiffany and Ronnie talk, and they both feel like they've got a vibe going on.
Got a vibe.
Ronnie feels that he is drawing more towards Tiffany than Harriet. Tiffany tells him, just to go ahead and be honest with Harriet. Tiffany says the way Ronnie talks about the situation with Harriet, it seems like that situation is done.
She don't know Ronnie.
Yeah. And my thing is like, this is Tiffany thinking that she's special and that she's going to be the chosen one when Harriet literally just told you that he has done this to everybody. And what is he thinking? And I think that's just, I feel like this is kind of like a microcosm of what happens in the real world. Like, people get with these trash people who have all these exes and all these things that they've done in the past, and they just continue on thinking they're going to be special, and they're like another one left in the dust. And I'm just like, Tiffany, please pay attention. But,
no, it's okay.
But he's making her feel good. I guess that's all that matters.
She is going to join that same clique with Jess and Harry, and all of them going to be talking together when the new Bombshells come in and stuff like that,
Well, Uma and Will have a chat.
Yeah.
Uma, she comes in saying, I know you missed me, or did you miss me? Even that alone bothered me.
It's giving Ronnie.
Because I'm just like, you're just making everything about you. Like you don't really want to get to know this person, but you kind of do. It's just very, I don't know, it comes across very childish to me. Will tells her that he did miss her. She's asking him how she should wear her hair, what should she wear tonight, what colors do you like me in. She feels that it's natural between them, and she calls them Willuma, like what their couple name would be. They joke about being married already and practicing proposing.
See, the problem is, and I understand I'm sexist in the sense of how can Ronnie can do what Ronnie do, but Uma can't do what she does, because I seen how Ayo affected Uma. I saw how Ayo basically made Uma feel like she was disrespected, and she walked away crying. So even though I see her doing the thing of basically keeping people to her arm's length, I know she can be affected emotionally. Ronnie haven't showed me that yet. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, I think Uma really wants to connect with someone, but she's holding it in. That's the only difference that I feel with Uma and Ronnie. Ronnie, I think he's here for a good time.
Yeah,
I
think Ronnie's doing exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah, I think Ronnie don't know there's a cash. Like I really think he don't think there's a winner at the end of this. I think he just like, man, I came here, I conquered, and then I'm going back to work.
Exactly.
I think Uma really wants to connect with somebody, right? Based on what she told us, right? I don't think this is. I think the way she's going about it is not right. Right? I think at the end she's going to be hurt, and she's going to be left holding the bag when everybody's gone. Is already well, we can't even count Omar. You get what I'm saying? 'Cause Omar haven't done his part in putting his name into the hat of trying to get her affection because he's a boy, get the boys off the island. But I feel like if Will is honest enough and he keeps showing himself consistently, I think there will come a point to where he's gonna have a conversation, unfortunately, with Ronnie, and he's gonna be like, I just feel like I'm doing a lot and I'm not getting the same effort back.
Yeah,
we seen it before, you know.
Well, Sean and Tiffany chat.
Yeah.
He compliments her bathing suit. Tiffany tells Sean that it's between him and Ronnie. Ronnie has spent more time with her, though, but his track record isn't as great.
Yeah.
And basically, Sean is just like, you pretty much should choose me. Like, I'm the nice guy in the equation.
Stop it.
Sean wants to see where things go with her, and he's hoping that things can progress.
Sean, I told you the plan. You ain't listening. The plan was for you to actually save Samantha. People would have viewed you more as a sweetheart, and you probably would have been voted the #1 couple of the show. But you didn't want to do that. You were like, who do Ronnie like? Okay, I like them too. It is what it is.
So Grace pulls Samantha for a chat just to check on her to see how she's feeling.
Yeah.
Samantha says she's fine, but the kissing was a bit much.
Yeah.
Grace apologizes because she didn't want it to seem that she was rubbing anything in her face.
That's fair.
She knew that when Grace walked in, I mean, look, he was looking like the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah.
And Samantha was embarrassed. Grace says, honestly, you gave me the green light. You told me to just continue and go ahead and talk to him. Like, if you had an issue with it, basically, you could have stopped me. And Samantha says, well, she's not going to get involved with people who have a history. And they just kind of end the conversation there. And I think that is an issue with Samantha as well, is that she kind of doesn't really want to take any accountability in the situation. And I totally... 99.9% the fault is on production and Joey and Grace and all this type of stuff for not giving her a fair chance. But if you had an issue, girl, you need to speak up.
Yeah.
You need to say something and not just pout around and cry and hide and all this type of stuff. You should have told Grace, actually, I don't want you talking to him. They would have done it anyway. But at least you could say, you're a snake. At least you could say Grace is a snake. But I don't know. I don't know if it really would have mattered.
Yeah.
Well, Joey's been trying to stay away from Grace so that way he's not all over her. He's trying to work on this PDA thing. Grace, Joey, Ronnie, and Tiffany talk. Grace fills them in on the conversation they had.
Yeah.
And Grace was just like, look, the kiss was really quick. It wasn't even that big a deal.
Relax.
So as they're getting ready for the party, they get a text that there's going to be a recoupling tonight. The guys are going to choose their partner. Will, Grace, and Tiffany will get their first choice as the Bombshells. So the night of the party, Samantha, Jess, Harriet, and Nicole are all talking. Yeah. And they're pretty much in agreement. What will be, will be. And Jess says after tonight, the power will be back in the girls' hands.
And that's what I don't like about Jess. I don't like about Jess because she's over here trying to play this. She's been hurt by Ronnie so much. And truth be told, sometimes people will give you a little bit of the truth and also as well as their truth.
Yeah.
Meaning that when she was talking to Joey, talking about it's a protection thing, I think there was something in Jess in her relationship with Ronnie to where she didn't want to go all in with him because she wanted to protect herself knowing the guy that she was with.
Yeah.
And even then, she still got hurt. Right? So now, only thing she could think about, well, the power will be back with us. Right? Even though, Jess, you're there to connect with someone and you really have no connection with nobody.
No.
So what use is that power if you ain't got no connection with nobody?
Yeah, for me, Jess, she just comes across nasty and miserable, to be honest. I understand her being upset about the Ronnie situation, but then her coming for Harriet, even though I know Harriet was in the love triangle, but Harriet really do just be chilling, to be honest.
Harriet's probably my favorite second person.
Really. And then her going around the house and trying to tell people what they need to tell their couple and all this type of stuff. I'm just like, Jess is just a lot to me. Yeah. And I think her thing is that she wants power in the house. I don't know if she even really wants to talk to anybody. And let me not say that. She might want to have a real genuine connection with somebody, but her actions aren't showing it. She just comes across so angry.
Ronnie left her mark on her.
Yeah. Well, Grace, Will, and Tiffany, they're all excited to choose, and they're interested in seeing like what it'll be like actually being in a couple with the person they want, so they can fully express their interest in the way that they want to.
Yeah.
Well, Sean tells Harriet that it's 50-50 when it comes to Tiffany with who she's going to choose. And he's just like, why can't she just go for like a good guy like me? Harriet's feeling embarrassed about her situation.
Oh my gosh. Sean, I'm trying to be nice to you, but saying things like, why can't you pick me? Why can't you like me? Listen here. Sean, how about you be likable? Right? Work on that. Right? Work on, like, besides saying like me, do things and be likable to where someone can see your value besides telling someone I'm valuable. You know what I mean? And don't only tell them that you're valuable after you see them get basically trashed by like a bad guy. You got to pick another role besides like the hero that comes and saves the day.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? At least with these women. These women have shown that they like the bad guys, and that even when you are the good guy and it's like you are the only good guy, they still won't choose you. You get what I'm saying? You were with Jess and things of that nature, and Jess did not choose to talk to you at all to build a connection with you. So you being a good guy, you need something more than that. Right? Tiffany comes in, a brand new girl and things of that nature, and you let Ronnie get his claws in her, and Ronnie didn't even have to try. You get what I'm saying? Like, but you over here talk about, so what type of candy you like?
I'm just like, you can't be having the same conversation with everybody. Come on, Sean, come with something.
Stop telling people to like you and focus on being likable.
Right.
You know?
Well, Jess gets a text. All the islanders must gather around the fire pit. Yeah. So now it is time for the coupling. Will chooses Uma.
Stop right there. I like the speech that Will said. It makes it seem as if Will is really into Uma. I think my only flaw with Uma is she likes being picked. Right? During the whole time, she was smiling, cheesing, beautiful, and all that stuff, right? But I think she likes being picked, and I think she thinks the game ends there, right? But eventually, you know, even Will say, he said, I hate to break up a couple. They put the camera on the boy Omar and things like that, but he said, I'm feeling Uma, and I think Uma's like, well, I'm picked. That's it.
Yeah.
I think, Uma, you in for some trouble.
Grace chooses Joey.
Yeah, during the speech that when she was talking before she picked Joey, the camera showed Jess rubbing Samantha's back because we knew what was coming. Yeah. Right?
Tiffany selects Ronnie.
Of course.
Io selects Mimi.
Stop right here. I love the speech that Io gave. It kind of lets me know, because we don't see no camera time. Right? Remember the speech that Mimi kind of gave? It was kind of more blunt. It wasn't mean, but it was more like blunt in the sense of like, you know, we on a rocky road, but I still favor this guy and stuff like that. This speech kind of lets me know where they are, since Love Island don't want to show us. Yeah. It's interesting that this is actual couple and they got the same camera time, screen time as Omar. Yeah. That's very interesting. So yeah, I'm happy that them two are actually growing their connection as far as what they tell us.
Kieran chooses Nicole.
Of course.
Sean said that it's going to be on a friendship basis, but he thinks that they both deserve to find love in this process, and he selects Harriet.
How did you feel about that?
I felt good about it.
Actually, that's probably the one thing I like about Sean right there. To where I was like, you know what? I like what you did there. I like how you didn't try to play it as if it's like, you know what? I hope she gets to like me. I hope she gets to choose me one day. It's kind of like, you know what? I have the power. And he do have a friendship group with Samantha and Harriet and things like that. And he's like, you know what? So this person deserves love in this process, even if it's not from me. Yeah. I like that play.
I did too.
I like that play.
Omar selects Jess.
Both of them can go. Truth be told. Get the boys off the island, and Jess, you have no connection, so you need to go.
Well, Nicole gets a text that Samantha has been dumped from the island. Yeah. Nicole, it looked like Nicole got a text like somebody in her family died. I was just like,
they was weeping, boy.
Joey tries to talk to Samantha before she leaves. She tells him to save it. He's like, look, like I've spent 2 weeks with you. Like I want to talk to you. And she says she didn't want to hear it. So that was the end of the episode.
What are your thoughts on the episode, Claire?
My thoughts of the overall episode, man, I think I'm getting spoiled with Love Island USA. It's just so fast paced. And the thing is, I really like Love Island UK because it is slower paced, and I do get to know the people, and I am more invested. But at the same time, I'm just like, finally somebody can go home. Like, let's shake the cast up a little bit, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I really did feel bad about Samantha going home. Not because it's Samantha. It's because I felt like she was dealt a raw hand. But at the end of the day, you have to play your game and be confident in your game. And her game was only talking to Joey Essex.
Yeah.
You know, but I do feel some type of way about production bringing an ex of Joey Essex, right? It feels like y'all are trying to prop them as the couple of Love Island. And I'm saying if that's the case, give everybody equal screen time when it comes to the couples.
Yeah, and Grace and Joey, crack on. Let the PDA
Exactly.
begin.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get into it.
There's some articles saying that during the filming, they had to cut some scenes
I
out because
it
was
hot
nasty.
heavy.
So I understand that. I need more Ayo and Mimi. Uma, even though I have my criticism of Uma, I still love Uma. Uma's still one of my favorite people and things like that. Yeah. Get the boys off the island. Omar, you next. You ain't gonna survive, buddy.
Yeah.
Jess ain't gonna pick you, buddy. You know? Anything else?
That's all.
Join us tonight for Love Island USA. Y'all be good.
Bye.